Over the past few months, I've seen a spate of comments concerning Baldur's Gate 3 related potential DLC. There are generally two varieties of these. The first one being, didn't you know Larian doesn't do DLC? And the other one being, I thought Larian said that there won't be any DLC. These are two related but distinct statements, and I'd like to briefly tackle them both. To begin with, it's not actually technically true that Larian does not do DLC or add-ons. These have been minor, but Larian has released DLC for Divinity Original Sin 2 in the form of new armor, new quests, and new enemies, as well as the much-loved Solora the Squirrel DLC. These were indeed all fairly minor, but they were all added post-launch, probably in concert with the fact that Divinity Original Sin 2 had done quite well monetarily for its time. Moreover, it is an indication that the success of a game can change the parameters of what is possible and what is desirable. Whilst it's clear that Baldur's Gate 3 is essentially a finished game, the fact of the matter is that, as has been stated many times before, no one, and I do mean no one, had anticipated the colossal success of BG3, least of which the CEO, Sven Vinke. The surprise and astonishing success of the game changes the potential relationship of Larian to DLC, or expansions. And since they've done small-scale add-ons for Divinity Original Sin 2, it would not be unreasonable at all to assume that similar such things are on the way for Baldur's Gate 3, and much more likely much bigger things, since the game has sold so incredibly well. This, of course, leads us to the second and perhaps more important statement. Nowhere, and at no point in time, has Larian ever stated that DLC or expansions are off the table. I'm not even sure how people have come to this conclusion. Quite the opposite, in fact. Larian suggesting that although there are no definitive plans for DLC or expansions, there have been three crucial pieces of information that have been revealed over the course of the last few months, following BG3's release. The first came in the form of Sven Vinke himself, addressing questions concerning DLC and/or expansions for the game in late August, early September of 2023. He stated the following, after saying it would be very hard, but not undoable. Well, you could do different things in the DLC, so it doesn't necessarily have to be at the end of the game. There's different ways that you can do that. This statement was made in the context of a DLC or an expansion of higher levels, which can be challenging in D&D because D&D past level 12 gets very complicated. This was at the very least a very clear statement of openness to the idea, negating any suggestion that they had said that they would categorically not do it. Much later, during the month of December, Adam Smith, the writing director at Larian Studios, made several statements suggesting not just open-mindedness towards new content, but maybe even hints mentioning that although they have nothing concrete yet, they would be open to the idea of adding new races, stating, "We don't have specific plans for new races at the moment, but we're not saying no." Still later, he stated the following concerning further content in general. "Currently, I can't talk about expansion plans. We're very much thinking about our next things, but nothing to announce just yet." This sounds like more than just a consideration or a possibility, suggesting a real intention more than anything else. And most recently, and perhaps most importantly, in an interview with IGN, Larian's senior product manager, Tom Butler, made statements that are about as definitive as they're going to get concerning future DLC and/or expansions, stating the following, "We'll carry on patching for a while, and then we're all going to take a holiday, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do next. But at the moment, we're genuinely having discussions. We want to do more, we just don't know what yet." This is practically a yes, there will be a DLC type of statement. In fact, given that statement, the only way we would not be getting DLC is if Larian simply fails to come up with something, which is very, very unlikely in my opinion. I would say that it's almost certain that DLC in the form of items such as armor and weapons, as well as new races and classes, is guaranteed. I've long suggested that the Artificer class be added, and I've been holding out on playing with the mod that introduces the class for that very reason. With the Inventor Nation of Lantan, adding the Artificer is a no-brainer. Races might be a little trickier, but there are many possibilities as well, with the choices of Azamar and Genasi being fairly obvious, but maybe even Arakocra or Githzerai, and others. Where it becomes trickier is with the question of story-related DLC, which is probably what Tom Butler meant when he said we want to do more, but we just don't know what yet. That still sounds like an almost definitive yes. There will be a story expansion after we figure out exactly what we want to do with it, and we probably can't expect them to rush it. So I think sometime in 2025 would be a reasonable date at the earliest when it comes to a proper expansion, with smaller DLC coming out during the course of this year. So to get back to the original statements, Larian does in fact do DLC, and they've said the opposite of not wanting to do DLC or expansions. They very much want to, but they need time and discussion to figure out what exactly they would like to do, and there you have it. Either way, We can definitely look forward to more content in time. We just need to be patient. I'm sure they'll put out something that's both fun and great in the future. Thanks for watching. If you like my content, you can leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe, as it really helps out the channel. It'd be much appreciated, and I'll check you out later. Take care.